Okay.
All right, well, I will call the meeting to order, and we'll start tonight with the IAS Community Leadership Awards. So I believe we have a few folks to promote to the virtual dais here.
Yeah, just two. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm not, Joe, you there? There he is. Joe, I'm not seeing Chris in the audience.
I'm sure he's coming. I spoke to him at 5, and I know he was all
Okay.
set. We just went over things. Let me try to reach out to him on my cell.
There he is.
Got him?
Oh, here we go. Yep.
We started promptly.
Okay.
All right.
So with that, we have Joe Archino and Chris Raymond from the IASC Executive Board. Tonight is the presentation of the IASC-CAB Community Leadership Award. So with that, I'll turn it over to either Joe or Chris, whoever wants to take
I'll start it off, and then Chris will jump in. First of all, want to thank the board for allowing us this opportunity once again. As you know, with just about everyone, it's been a very challenging year, but I know I speak for Chris and Lisa Tomine, who's our behind the scenes person, and say that we thought it was a tremendous year for IASC and the CAB. Every month having over 40 individuals join us at our CAB meeting is just a great thing. I know we were lucky enough to have both the mayor and Larry as our guests the last 2 meetings. And Larry was the guest at the last CAB meeting. And I know mentioned to me how impressed he was with how engaged our students are. And the topic at that meeting was to talk about the upcoming marijuana legislation. And we gave students an idea of how they could participate and communicate and have their voices heard. That's just an example of what we do, but we're driven by our students. And, we have a group that we are going to put in front of you tonight. Chris will read their names shortly, who really set the tone as juniors. And we will be depending on a great deal come September to be the leaders of our group. And we know many of their parents are out in the audience tonight too. They should be very proud of their students because they not only just, get up for 8 o'clock meetings, which is not always easy to do, but they're prepared, they are engaged, and they're inspiring. They really are. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Chris and have him acknowledge each of the students that you will be honoring tonight.
Thanks, Joe. And I just want to echo what Joe said. I joined the Community Action Board about 5 years ago from the IEF. And I certainly enjoyed the time that I spent working there. But the thing that grabbed me, or that hooked me, I guess, right away, right from the start, first CAB meeting I attended, was just that we work side by side with the students. And what we do, to help them make smart choices can only be accomplished if we have cooperation from the students who come and participate in those meetings. If they, lend their voice to what we're doing, if they help us shape ideas. And I can tell you that this group that we are honoring tonight is exceptional in every single way. There is something just really special about this junior class. Some of these students joined the CAB when they were in 8th grade. Others followed in their freshman year in high school. And they have not only embraced our mission, but they have taken advantage of the leadership opportunities we presented them with. A couple of them ended up going to Rhode Island and spent 2 days kind of learning in front of other leaders. They've come back to us and talked to us about speakers and encouraged us to to bring in speakers to talk to other students. They've helped us kind of shape our message. They've helped us come up with ways to make the prom and homecoming week safer and better. And so I really would not hesitate to recommend any one of these kids for a job, for a scholarship, you name it. So with that, I'll start, I guess. So the first student that we're honoring is Sydney Birkin. Next is Isaiah Boyles. Andy Bouchatti. Lexi Downs. Dylan Harrison. Danny Heller. Liam Lyons. Lucas Lones. Jake Auerman. Ella Rimlin. Liam Sarian. Hannah Tuckett. And Scarlett Whitney. So that is a great group of students. And I'm so pleased that we actually have them. We're not saying goodbye to them tonight. We have them for one more year, actually, to help us shape the next year, I guess the year ahead.
With
Thank
that,
you.
I can display the Community Leadership Award, so that I believe the mayor will be signing and presenting. Just a sample.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is, well, I can read, the important part of the award, which is for dedication and commitment to the promoting healthy and responsible choices by teens in the Irvington community. But to echo what I think Joe and Chris both kind of said, I think the biggest change since I've been going to CAB meetings, which is I guess about 12 years now, Joe, is the student input. I can't take any credit for the change, but it was just one day, I forget even who it was now exactly. You might remember, Joe. Someone said, maybe we should just hear what the kids think. So it used to be a bunch of adults talking. And now it's the exact opposite. It used to be probably, 80-20 adults, and now it's probably 90-10 students. And that's just made this a much more effective, body and, I think a super valuable part of the community now. Not that it wasn't before, but I think it's just morphed into something great. And I think we saw it recently when we had a discussion of, legalizing marijuana. We actually talk about some kind of heavy topics now. And I found it really interesting, the viewpoints of some of the students on cannabis legalization and things like that. So, Chris, great job this year. And Joe, and congratulations to all the recipients. Well-deserved.
Just one thing, Brian, before you go, I want to also just point out, most of you know who Lisa Tomine is. I don't think anyone realizes how much work Lisa does to keep this coordinated and keep it rolling. She's also our grant expert and provides all the information Larry and I need to make sure that all of our paperwork is in with the feds. By the time we're done with this second round, we would have collected over $1.2 million in funding for this. So that's nothing to sneeze at. And I also want to spend a minute to thank Chris Raymond. Chris came on board after Allison Felix and Tanya Hunt had stepped down after an amazing run as the chairs of the group. And I was a bit nervous because I knew how important the role is. And Chris came on board, and we fully expected to seek someone else out. Well, it really wasn't necessary because Chris has been an absolute amazing partner. He's very involved. He knows what goes on in the schools, and he's really been such a great fit for Lisa and I, and has made things easy. So I wanted to take a minute just to praise him for all of his efforts over the past year. And again, congratulations to every student who's been here tonight. We really are going to depend on you come September. And again, I thank the board for this opportunity. I think this has become a tradition we really look forward to every year as a way to honor students who really deserve to be recognized. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Great job.
Well done.
Congratulations to the students.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And now back to the mundane. Checks over $25,000. The first check over $25,000 was for Griffin, Coogan, Sulzer, and Horgan, which is tertiary settlement for Hudson House Tenants Corp. That was for $67,365.84. We also had one that went to JC Land and Site Development as part of the Matheson Park Playground project, and that was from the general funds of $114,616.10. And that was it. As far as checks, other announcements, I wanted to thank everyone that organized the Juneteenth celebration this past Saturday, commemorate the activists, St. Barnabas Church, and I know I'm forgetting a few. I'm trying to picture the banner behind them, but thanks to everyone, especially Kelly and Arlene who organized it. Nice turnout. It was hot and humid, but we got some cloud cover by the end of the day. So it was great to hear from our congressman and our state senator, as well as just all the other speakers that we had, and we got to see a rendering of the commemorate statue as well, which I thought was really impressive, and I think it's going to be a great addition to Main Street. Anybody else have announcements? Or should I just move on to correspondence? The vast majority of the correspondence actually is related to the public hearing that was held. So I only have the first and last one on the list to actually read tonight. First one is from Arlene Bergo. Dear Mayor Smith and members of the Board of Trustees, for many white Americans, Juneteenth is a holiday that they just learned about in the last year. Black Americans have been celebrating Juneteenth with family gatherings, parades, and community celebrations for a countless number of years. Quite ironic, in a letter calling for repudiation of hate against Jewish people, the author calls Juneteenth a fake holiday. It seems to be the author is ignorant of other people's culture and religious traditions. As the result, she feels comfortable dismissing not only a cultural celebration for Black Americans, but a holiday that marks the emancipation of their ancestors. I find it aberrant that she could refer to Juneteenth as a fake holiday, completely offending not only Black Americans, but all of us should stand in solidarity. And then Arlene said she hoped to see everybody on Saturday. The other letter not related to the public hearing was from Lisa. And I used Larry's fancy bookmarks, but I went one too far. This is from Lisa again. Subject is pride flags. Dear Mayor Smith and the Board of Trustees, following up on the public comment I made urging the board to put rainbow flags up on Main Street to celebrate Pride Month. I wanted to share with you a photo I took over the bridge in Piermont. These pride flags and planters were so lovely and welcoming. It seems like a very easy way to send a message of inclusion and honoring the LGBTQ community. Hope we're going to do something similar. While I think it's probably too late this year to do flags, we definitely put it on the list for next year, but I think Connie is organizing a pride event. I'm actually going to be out of town this weekend, but I don't know, Connie, do you want to mention that now? Or are you going to talk about it later? Or?
Sunday at noon on Main Street in front of Village Hall. Just a very informal stop by, speak if you wish, just to recognize Pride Month and make it clear to everyone who lives, works, visits here that we are a welcoming community for everyone.
Thank you, Connie. And with that, we'll open it up to public comment. If there's no public comment at this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Larry, I think you said you had one amendment to the minutes.
Yes.
So we'll accept the consent agenda,
Yes.
the minutes as amended.
Yeah, so just let me describe the change to the minutes. There was a point where one of the attendees of the meeting it was a PJ McCulloch, made a comment, but it was actually made at the end of the meeting and not during the public hearing itself. So the public comment at the end. So we're going to adjust the minutes to reflect when the comment was made, just to be more accurate about that. So you can amend those and then vote on the consent agenda unless you have any other questions.
No, I think that's great. So I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes as amended. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is parkland dedication adjacent to Halsey Pond. You know, lead this one out, Larry.
Yeah, so as you recall, the board was presented with a variety of information, historical information relating to the parkland adjacent to Halsey Pond. There was parkland that transferred ownership, not at the same time that necessarily that Halsey Pond did. And so the history, the information that was sent to you described how it could be, should be dedicated formally as parkland, even though that's essentially what it's used for now. But also the request was made to dedicate it as passive parkland for passive use. And I can very quickly, just to help with the description here, I can put a screenshot of the land that we're talking about. I won't go into much more detail than that. All the correspondence was attached, but I can just show that so you're familiar with the area. So this area here that's whited out, that's not yellow, is Halsey Pond, with the access area from Castle Road here, or Palliser. And this yellowed out area is the parkland surrounding it, and that's the subject land that you're considering dedication on. Any questions about that? Or the resolutions there, there was a short environmental assessment form that was attached. I think it's fairly obvious that dedicating land as parkland is not going to have an impact on the environment. That's essentially what the short environmental assessment form says. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I would just add that we did reach out to Joe and the Rec and Parks Department to make sure that they knew the area that we were talking about, and that they felt it was appropriate to not only dedicate it as parkland, but to dedicate it as passive recreation parkland. And with their recommendation, I'm certainly in favor of doing that.
agreed. Anybody else have questions? I'll start my reading. Whereas in 1996, a 16.79 acre parcel of land adjacent to Halsey Pond, tax parcel number 2.19186-7, was dedicated to the Village of Irvington for the park and recreational use of the residents of Irvington. And whereas neither the acceptance resolution adopted by the Board of Trustees nor the filed deed indicated that the property will be dedicated as parkland, and whereas the Board of Trustees wishes to dedicate this parcel as public parkland for passive recreation, and whereas the dedication is an unlisted action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and the Board of Trustees has reviewed the environmental assessment form and determined that this action will have no adverse environmental impacts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees issues a negative declaration under SECRA, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby dedicates tax parcel 2.19186-7 as public park land for passive recreation. I'll make the motion if I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of a film permit.
Okay. So this is, I guess, an interesting event. It's not a traditional filming operation, but it does seem to fall in the same category. There is an event planned at Villa Lowero. The event is essentially it's some sort of a show that is being streamed live. There'll be some people in attendance, not a huge gathering. Certainly, the property, there'll be arrangements made for transportation of people and parking at alternate locations. Our police will be engaged, so very similar to a filming activity. But it's a live streaming event that's being streamed back to, somewhere in Europe, apparently, for a larger event. So it's an interesting operation. We've gotten, we're working with professional, essentially production people. So like I said, very similar to a filming operation.
So
And you
Larry,
can see it's a daytime event. It's a, from 2 to 6 on July 8th.
so the one question that came to mind was, well, there are two things, but you touched upon it. They said there was going to be 10 vehicles. I guess those are production vehicles. And got a little concerned about whether or not there was enough parking on site for 10 vehicles. And that led to where are they going to park and traffic access, control issues. And then you've said there was going to be a limited amount of spectators, audience. And again, they have to park somewhere. So I didn't see the details of that.
Right. And the details, in all honesty, the details are being worked out as we speak. Their production team is working with my assistant and with the police department directly, like we would for any film production. So we will make sure, that there are arrangements made for off-site parking. I know that's in the works. Again, some of it hasn't been finalized on the exact details, but we know the location, we know the situation on Broadway and potential traffic. They are engaging police officers to help control traffic and, to direct people for parking and things like that. So we're working out those details. I will be happy to report back to the board, but there's not another board meeting between now and July 8th. So I'm happy to report back for your edification of what the details are. Anything else?
July 8th is what day? I haven't looked on a calendar. So.
It's a
Which
Thursday.
day of the week? It's a Thursday, I believe.
That I can confirm.
Yes, it is.
Okay, everybody good? Resolved to approve a filming permit for Pyra Moss for a couture show at Villa Lawaro, 67 North Broadway in Irvington, New York on July 8th, 2021 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. with a fee of $1,000. I'll make a motion if I can have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Next up, appointments to the South Buckout Street Memorial Space Committee. Kind of stands on it. Is there anything you want to add here, Larry? Or
We are, as we discussed in the past with this board, we're undertaking the design and eventually construction of a memorial space along South Buckout Street to memorialize enslaved of African descent that may have lived here in Irvington and obviously died here. And the space is being designed by will be designed by an outside consultant designer. We've done an RFQ to gather information from designers. So we have a short list of designers, and we want this committee of stakeholders, which is in front of you, which includes some from the neighborhood, some from nearby properties, most close to this location, as well as representatives from the library and from the Irvington Historical Society, all the relevant groups that we felt would be helpful to steer this design process. So the design committee, as soon as you appoint them, will be involved in selecting the designer, will be involved in meeting. I mean, I'll primarily be negotiating the contract, of course, but then we'll be meeting with the design team and coming up with a design, hopefully, if things stay on schedule, by the end of the year. So I don't know if trustee Gilliland or Kehoe have anything else to add to that?
No, I thank Larry and Karen for organizing the RFQs. And it was rewarding that we got qualified people who are interested in this, obviously small, but significant and sensitive and important project.
So Larry, are you going to be sitting on it as well, or is it just me going to be at the Zoom controls?
I would expect to be involved in well, certainly the initial stage is getting the committee organized, getting it moving along. I'm not sure whether I'll be attending all of the design, the real nitty gritty design meetings. I'm happy to, if that helps, but I'll just kind of follow along and see what's needed. How's that?
Well, as
Unless you
far as
have-
control of Zoom meetings, I'm a novice, so I might combine
Oh, yeah,
some lessons from you.
That's fine. Again, I'll make sure things are handled.
Okay.
Attending them, I'm not a novice, of course.
Yeah, I won't be talking about the design too much. It's not my area.
Results.
Well-
Sorry, we have more.
Last thing, we're going to supply everyone before the first meeting. We're going to be supplying them the RFQ and the 3 responsive or selected responses.
Yes. Yeah, once you appoint this committee, we'll get the ball rolling on giving them their homework and then setting up a time for them to come back to discuss what they reviewed and make a selection, hopefully. If they want to have an interview or 2 or interview all of them, that's up to the committee. And go from there.
Sounds great.
Resolved to appoint the following as members of the South Buckout Street Memorial Space Committee: Ann Goldfield Ram, Ruth Cohen, Kelly Scott, Keach Heggie, Alice Bacone, Julian Mathis Braun, Marianne Hoffman, Desmond Lyons, Antoinette Klatsky, and Mark Gilliland, trustee liaison. I'll make the motion if I can have a second.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't know if Mark has to abstain, but
I think I have to recuse, right?
next up is renewal of the prisoner transportation reimbursement agreement with Westchester County. Any changes?
Yeah, there's really no change to this to any great degree. This is an agreement we've had for a long time with the county and involves reimbursing us for transporting prisoners over to the county jail from Irvington. It's been reviewed by the police chief and by our village attorney.
Whereas the Village of Irvington continues to transport prisoners to and from the county jail and wishes to receive reimbursement for a portion of the overtime costs associated with that activity. And whereas the village previously approved an intermunicipal agreement with the county, and whereas the parties wish to continue the agreement from January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. And whereas the agreement has been reviewed and approved by the police chief and village attorney, now therefore be it resolved to approve the prisoner transportation reimbursement agreement between the Village of Irvington and Westchester County and to authorize the village administrator to execute said agreement. I'll make a motion if I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next up is authorization to sign documents for coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds.
So this is a fairly straightforward one. Whether it's necessary, I'm not sure, but we're doing it anyway to make it a little bit easier coordination-wise. So what we're learning is that there are documents that have to be filed related to the coronavirus relief funds that Irvington will be getting. Things have to be filed, formally accepting the funds or formally requesting the funds, and some documents have to be filed by the treasurer, which obviously, Brenda's authorized to handle. Other documents have to be filed by the chief executive officer, which is actually the mayor. So rather than try to coordinate, especially with, vacation season coming up and all that, I'm asking for the board to authorize me to file and sign any documents that are necessary for these funds. I obviously will send you, any details that look important to make sure that you're in the loop on all of it. But it looks like it's pretty straightforward, and there are time deadlines too. I think it's early July is one of the time deadlines. So I can't wait from meeting to meeting for this stuff.
Yeah, no, this is potential once in a, probably a lifetime, once in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think, the revenue piece is going to be an interesting one to explore, both from the rec standpoint as well as the theater standpoint. So.
This is finding documents to get money, not spend money.
Yes, no, to get money. Yeah, it's, and like I said, there are time constraints, and we certainly don't want to miss any of those. So.
You know.
Resolved to authorize the village administrator to execute all necessary documents related to the U.S. Department of the Treasury Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds. I'll make a motion if I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Reports of board, standing committees and officers, trustee liaison reports. Mark?
Nothing today.
Larry Lonke?
Brian, you're supposed to lead me into this.
Oh, yes, I am. On this Wednesday,
Come on, let's coordinate this.
Pretend we didn't talk about this before. This Wednesday, actually, up at the O'Hara Nature Center, there's a fundraiser for the fledgling Irvington Shakespeare Company, which kind of brings together the rec and theater. It is a separate entity, but they're working with both the theater and the rec, and they're going to have, basically a month or 3 weeks of shows up at the Nature Center and the outdoor theater, which seats about, I think, 50 people, I heard, or between 30 and 50 people. So this is the fundraiser to try to raise some money to allow them to have professional actors in the band and, all the other costs associated with producing something. So, and costumes, all that kind of good stuff. So we will be having a fundraiser up at the O'Hara Nature Center. It's also supposed to be a beautiful night Wednesday. So there's wine and snacks from Jourdain's and wine from Judy's My Cherie Moore. So it should be a fun evening if anyone would like to come up. It's from 7 to about 8:30. So it's not a long event, but hopefully it'll be a fun event. There is going to be some music, and you get to meet the actors and the creative team as well. So thank you, Doc, for reminding me.
Sure. Just a few more announcements from Rec. Summer camp registration continues. It's been extremely successful. There are just a few limited spaces available in certain age groups. Contact Maureen for information. Day camp begins July 12th at the Main Street School. The Senior Center is now open Tuesday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. Food shopping every Wednesday and exercise every Thursday. The tree inventory grant with the DEC to conduct the tree inventory in the woods is progressing. Tennis courts are open 7 days a week. Reservations are recommended. Progress continues at Matheson Park. Sadly, we will not be open by July 4th due to construction delays, but we're really hoping to be open by the middle of July. Park users are reminded that launching, landing, or flying a drone over any village park is illegal. Please report drones to the IPD. Teenscape and another successful program starts on July 6th. There are a few limited spots available for both sessions. There are 3 job postings for positions in the department. Job applications are available on the village website. All positions are part-time and on an as-needed basis. Positions are for a senior citizen bus driver, a parks ranger, and a parks attendant. Congratulations to the graduates of the class of 2021. Rec was honored to host the graduation in Scenic Hudson Park. And finally, the High School O'Hara Summer Basketball League, sponsored by the O'Hara Foundation and the ISCAB, starts play on June 6th in Scenic Hudson Park. Games start at 6 p.m. and will continue through the month of July. 14 high school teams from all over Westchester and Rockland in boys and girls divisions will compete. That's it.
Great. Connie?
But you talked about the theater, so that's one thing on my list, the Shakespeare project in the summer. There are some other theater things before that, including some of the diversity connected programming. I was going to mention the high school graduation parade that came down Main Street. I I think Larry, you responded to that too. That was a lovely event. And I think of all those times that are helpful to the local businesses. So I'm really glad that the school chose to do that, and rec and everyone else cooperated. There were quite a few people out. I saw Gina Marr, it's a really nice way to see people. So the kids look great. I heard they got their hair done the night before, so good for business. That's it.
And last but not least, Janice.
The library, very exciting news, is open for 30-minute browsing sessions. Regular times that the library has been open previous to the pandemic shutdown: Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 to 5, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 to 9, and Saturdays, 10 to 2, excuse me. No appointment necessary, but do please limit your time to 30 minutes. Wear masks, social distance, and respect the timeframes, but it is very nice to have it back. Summer reading programs start this week. The usual reading games for children, teens, and tweens. And the New York State summer reading theme this year is Tales and Tales. That's TAILS and TALES. And part of it involves the littlest kids reading to dogs, which should be quite nice. Children age 4 and up have a virtual kickoff party on Thursday, the 24th at 3:30, virtually meeting live animals from Green Meadows Farm. Teens have an exciting lineup of programs, beginning with a craft program at the library garden, including a teacup bird feeder. I have seen a picture of this. It's really quite impressive. Please go to the library site and check it out. Adults will be a Zoom lecture on Saturday. Topic is Charles Darwin, The World of Animals and the Origin of Species, with Tony McKean. Also, the nonfiction book club will be discussing H is for Hawk by Helen McDonald on Zoom on July 1st at 7 p.m. Again, check out the site for many other offerings. And for those of you who have not read that book, it's actually awesome. For the school, I'm catching up on announcements that got a little bit too late to make last time. Please check out the Campus Learning Pavilion construction as it takes shape up High School Hill. The village has been supporting surveillance testing every other Monday, and the schools district is appreciative of that. School quality survey is available to be completed, asking for feedback on student and academic support, safety and behavior, school leadership, family involvement, and more. You can find that link on the school website. And the fire department is very pleased to have had a very quiet month and nothing to report this time. Thank you.
Excellent. The last thing I guess I'll mention as a teaser is that Connie and I have been meeting with some of the folks involved with Villa Lawaro about the street renaming or the additional name of Fargo Lane. And it looks like we're honing in on a date in July. So hopefully we'll have more information and some details in the next week or so. But that's an exciting project that is finally coming to fruition. There's a lot of moving parts and people to coordinate. So we're almost at the end. Village Administrator's report.
So just
Connie had more to say? Or?
No? Okay. Just a quick heads up. I know I've talked to the board about this. We are watching, closely what New York State does in terms of their remote meeting law or a remote meeting executive order. The state made obviously some pretty large announcements in the last week or two relating to restrictions or the lack of restrictions, and it would certainly make sense that they roll back some of their remote meeting executive orders. But we'll see how we can adapt to that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up, and we'll keep monitoring it and see what we can do.
Great. Clerk Treasurer's report.
I just wanted to remind residents that the end of the penalty-free period for payment of first half village taxes is the end of June. So first half taxes are due by the end of June. You can drop off payments right in the vestibule. There's a drop-off box, or you can pay online. And of course, you're welcome to come to Village Hall and pay in person. Also, we're getting ready for our annual audit that will take place on July 12th.
Nice. The village attorney's report.
No, I don't have one.
Public comment. I didn't have any action items, Larry. So no public comment. I will make a motion to adjourn. If I can have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the summer.
Okay.
See you in a couple
Thank you,
weeks.
everyone.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Take care.